Good morning, Avanti friends and YouTube community. Welcome to the inspiration and motivational channel I call the Avanti Wellness podcast and YouTube channel. And in a little bit, I'm about to jump on here and start my bouncing and talking about whatever it is that's kind of on my mind that could be beneficial, hopefully, to others. And I titled this, the title of this video is Self Isolation is Not Always a Bad Thing. It can be if it goes into excess and you don't have relationships, because relationships are one aspect of longevity, vitality, and wellness. So you want that in your life. But when your relationships are either toxic or they're huge distractions for you in moving forward, that's when I think isolating yourself to get clear, to get a mental clarity, is really beneficial. So we're going to talk about that while I rebound. Okay, so here we go. How's your morning coming along? It's officially still morning for me. It's not quite noon yet. All right. So Alexa, give me a 1-minute timer. Alexa, give me a 1-minute timer. Alexa. Alexa, give me a 1-minute timer. Okay, something's going on with the Alexa in here. Alexa, give me a 5-minute timer. 7 minutes. 5 minutes. 7 minutes. Okay, she had to wake up. All right, she's woken up in the living room now. All right, so all I want to share is that over my personal journey, I've had a lot of therapy, gone to therapy groups, had a therapist, had a break, did mostly workshops, did mostly books, reading books, listening to other people in, podcast or YouTube channels. And then more recently, in the last 3 years, I hired some coaches. They weren't necessarily therapists, but they basically had some things they focused on, that they worked with people. And I found that beneficial. Now, every time you hire a coach or a therapist, they're not always going to be 100% perfect. Okay, there's the 1-minute timer. Alexa, stop. Okay. However, even when you think that something, like if you get triggered by a coach or a therapist or something, there's still gold in that relationship, because the act of the triggering of the relationship with the therapist or the coach is actually identifying for you an area that you still have to work on, because you're triggered by it. When we master life, we get to the point where people can be who they are no matter what, and we don't allow ourselves to be manipulated in our own personal sense of power, and we don't have strong reactions anymore. I still have strong reactions to certain things, but I always have to ask myself, okay, that's an area I still need to work on. Why am I so triggered by this person's question and this person's actions? Sometimes isolation is helpful and it's not always bad. And I would say that I had to ask myself, is my interaction with others or these situations or these behaviors, is it a distraction from me figuring out and having clarity on what will really make me happy? So for instance, when we have addictions, let's just to say, I'll use myself as an example. When I have an addiction it's usually in a way of avoidance. You can think of addiction. By the way, just so you know, I went to school to become an addiction counselor. Once I finished all the training, I decided that I didn't want to spend 8 hours of my day getting paid to listen to the darkest moments of everyone else's life when I actually had my own work that I needed to do. So I just decided that counseling wasn't going to be for me. You know, I don't mind helping people. I love helping people. I help people all the time. But I didn't want to be forced to go every day for 8 hours listening to other people's problems, because I had my own problems that still needed to be worked out. So that's kind of why, that's the decision I made while I was in the program. So, but I got a lot of good information from the training, okay? It was like 240 hours of addiction training. So what I would like to say, and this is my opinion, is that you can think of addiction as synonymous as avoidance. Whenever you have addiction to something, you're typically avoiding something else. So you got to kind of figure out, with this behavior that I have that I don't like, because it has more power over me than I have over it, I would say that's kind of a definition of an addiction, is when you want to stop, but you can't, and you have a hard time removing the problem from your life. So, or the behavior. So the avoidance, the addiction, and the behaviors are a distraction from whatever it is you're running from that you're avoiding. So you just got, it's just inner work. Like all of this is just inner work. You've got to just ask yourself the questions. Of course, if you want to know the answers, I mean, many people don't ever ask themselves questions. So if you don't want to ask the questions, don't ask them, you know. Continue with the life that you're choosing. It doesn't matter. Nobody else is really as concerned as you are about your own life. Alexa, 5 more minutes. Of course, your loved ones suffer when you suffer. So if you're suffering, then yes, your loved ones are going to suffer in your suffering, but no one is suffering more than you are in your own suffering. That goes for everyone. So a lot of people have unconscious suffering. Why do I know this? Because I went through it. I'm not talking about stuff that I haven't already lived through. And so far, I could just say so far, I've survived it, you know, and so now I'm comfortable talking about it and helping other people become aware of it, because I went through the journey. I'm still on the journey. It's not over. It continues. You just have new levels of awareness. You have new levels of healing, and you have new levels of living. And when you can get to the place where you're living the majority of your life with joy and happiness and fun and freedom, then that's a good place to live. But it doesn't mean all your problems are gone. You're still going to have problems. You just handle them differently. They don't knock you down as hard. They don't make it life so miserable, you know? So you have new tools, you have new understandings. You have new ways of managing the things that cause pain. You have new understandings. It's just such a big word, understanding. So I'm so glad that rebounding has been really helpful for people to have greater mental health, greater mental clarity. So we inspire people to rebound because it brings so much relief to one's life. It feels good to have oxygen in your cells. I think every mental hospital should have rebounders in every room. It's such a positive contribution to our lives. So back to isolation, you know, if it starts to become where you just don't want to live in this world anymore because you can't handle people, then that's not That's not healthy. That's not balanced. So you want to make sure your isolation doesn't go over a balanced level. And that maybe you isolate at certain times, and then you have interactions with people at other times, you know? So I will say that these few years that I've given myself the opportunity to have a break around, you know, heavy duty mental work for an employer has been good for me. It gave me clarity. It gave me clarity to build this channel. It gave me clarity to build my other 2 channels that I have. It takes a lot of creativity and a lot of thinking to build what you want for yourself. So putting yourself in quiet times is not punishment, you know? Maybe you can reverse the concept of timeout, and it's no longer a childhood punishment, and instead it's an adult gift. Isn't that interesting? What used to be considered a punishment when we're children, timeout, quiet time, is now, as an adult, we desire it and we yearn for it and we look forward to it and we build vacations around it. So how are you going to find more clarity in your life? How are you going to give yourself the mental space? Your brain has to have space to think of new things. If you're filling your space with somebody else's problems, let go of their problems, give their problems back to them, and you open up the space for your clarity to occur. So that's what's so my friend from the community sent me this video this morning, and I'm going to talk to her about it in just a second after my workout. But it resonated with me too, and that's where this conversation got inspired from. Alexa, stop. All right, so 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Woo! Last off. Last off. Woo! Last off. Woo! Oh, I need some water. Hydrate. Don't forget to hydrate. 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 Okay. I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes, and I'm going to pound. Alexa, give me a 5-minute timer. 5 minutes. 7 minutes. Okay. Then I do this little pounding on my rebounder when I sit in the chair. It really isolates my legs. Just started doing this like maybe a month ago. So I was telling someone, maybe it was Colette, I was telling her how the shirt that I had on yesterday, the green one that said, I had a circle with an owl on it and it said Moonflower Farms. That shirt, when I bought it, was kind of tight and fitted all around in the arms and in the body. And I wore it anyway because I was comfortable wearing it fitted and tight, but seeing it yesterday on me and seeing how much material was hanging around on my body, it was just so exciting to think about, like, these clothes that I've always worn, in the last, like, from 2017 on, like how they fitted me. And now I'm not so focused on like my weight because my weight's not changing that much, but my body is shrinking. And it's so weird how the scale is not moving, but the body is shrinking. So it's almost like the water and the fluid in the cells and the interstitial tissue, all this stuff right here, like weighs so much less than the muscle and the bone. I already knew that, but just seeing that the scale's not changing much and seeing how the clothes are changing and that pink dress, progress dress, is fitting, differently. It's just so amazing. It's just so interesting to be patient and watch what happens, to use your body as an experiment instead of a requirement. I'm experimenting with what I can do and what my body's going to do when I do certain behaviors. And so, yeah, feels good to see that shirt sagging. This shirt is, when I was walking, it's like just longer, on my body, like everything's longer. I mean, all this is because it's smaller, it's not taking up as much this way. And then when it takes up this way, it shortens this to here. So these hands on this shirt are longer. This one I can get away with for a lot longer until it's baggy, because it's definitely like a fitted shirt and it has a lot of give and spandex. So it kind of grew with me as I grew when I had it. So I don't really buy clothes anymore because I have so many from the past, so I don't need any clothes. Last time I bought something for myself was, I want to say September of 2023, like a piece of clothing and flower dress. And I wanted the embroidery Mexican top, but I found like a wrap dress instead, which was really pretty and so unique. I've never seen anybody wearing anything like that before. So I love having unique clothing that I never see out on anyone else. Like, I don't like to shop at, like Old Navy or something where they have a million, or the Gap, where they have a million pieces of the same clothing. Anyway, but I mean, I also shop at Ross and Marshalls and TJ Maxx. I don't shop at big fancy stores. The fanciest store I probably shop anything at is like Macy's, if I'm looking for something specific. And I have so many clothes now, there's no reason for me to buy anything at all. So anyway, it feels good to be fitting into smaller sizes. All right, my 5 minutes pounding is up. Alexa, stop. And I'm going to say goodbye. I did my 15 minutes, 10-minute rebounding, and 5-minute pounding. I hope you find some way to move more today and find some way to smile and give a smile away. And don't forget, be the joy you wish to see in the world. Bye.